What's up, everybody? This is Super Mike. I just wanted to come through real quick just to go through a few things, just to update in the world today because there's a lot of stuff happening. And I'm just chilling, looking through some of this stuff, just like everybody else is doing. You know what I'm saying? So if you got this, got a chance to look at this message here, I want you to go ahead and share it, press the like button or the retweet. And we're going to get into a little bit of this modern day stuff, that stupid politics that everybody's still getting tricked by. I don't understand why. I don't understand why people still up into this politics stuff. It's really a waste of time, distraction. This is so that you won't get into the real solution, problem solving. This whole thing is supposed to be about solving actual problems, and no problems get solved because they have convinced people that the power to solve problems is in a representative that you don't control. Now, that person is solving somebody's problem, and that problem is you. So if you're an average person, you're somebody who's trying to make their way in the world, you're trying to get things done in your life and create a harmonious situation. You are a problem for the person who banks and builds and thrives, survives off of imbalance, killing, stealing, lying, deception. That's who you are a problem for, because you're trying to fix things and they don't want things fixed. So we're going to get into a little of that today. I want to touch base on this little idea of black jobs. For some reason, these politicians, these political talking weirdos, they get into some little issue and then they want to undermine black folks. And it's okay, but they're digging themselves into a ditch. And it's just all we can do is warn them. Then we want to talk about, let me see. I want to deal with, definitely want to deal with, the 4th of July, Independence Day. This is the ultimate solution. This is the solution that black folks have to get into and understand. This is where we got to go. A lot of y'all ain't going to do it. A lot of y'all ain't with it, understanding. But the more we get closer to, these hot wars, then a lot more of you guys are going to start seeing it. So we have to be independent. So this is going to be a little bit on the Independence Day. I want to talk about Master Farad Muhammad. I want to talk about Terrence Howard. He was on the Joe Rogan show a little bit. And Joe Rogan had a Jewish scientist guy who a lot of people say is pseudo as well. But pseudo means false. And some of these things, I just want to get into a little bit of that. I think that's way more important. It just shows the crumbling of their society. And it's good. We'll talk a little bit about the UFO phenomenon. And just to open up people's minds, because even when the white people, the white officials, what's going on, guys? Like I said, just chime in. We just want you to chime in if you want to. If you don't want to come up, just chill out for a minute. We're just going to have a quick conversation on some of these topics. And we're going to get into just some of the current events in society. I want to talk a little bit on the politics thing with the black jobs. Not too much on the politics because I think it's a distraction. Because like I said, it's all about solution, problem solving. We're supposed to be building ourselves up to give our own selves and our family the power to solve the problems that's within our sphere of influence. And then we connect with other people and we can solve bigger problems. These politicians have taken these, really in the business, capitalist little situation, have kind of organized the public view and mindset, whereas you feel that you are not qualified to solve a problem. You have to defer the solution to some old person whom you don't have no control over. You got to defer solutions to the politicians who are absolute idiots. Okay. Now you can be a business person. You have to decide on it. Okay. And you can do things, but you feel like you don't have the power to do that because why? I don't know. Okay. The power is in someone else, not you. Okay. So we got to get out of that mindset. So that is part of our solution. And so I want to talk about a little bit about that. I want to go into the Independence Day, the 4th of July, Mass Farah Muhammad, because guess what, guys? You know, our whole entire perception of God, of origination, of how to understand scriptures, the Bible, Quran, Medunetters, all of these scriptures. You know, we've been taught by people who don't know what the freaking heck is going on. They know a little, but we are the origin of it. We just got amnesia. So this right here, over 6,000 years ago, a mysterious civilization. It's just a mystery because they don't have the knowledge of it. But the Sumerians, which were black people over there in the Middle East, okay, they had detailed maps of the solar system. Sumerians created these drawings using clay. Okay, the surviving drawings show that they understood the solar system. Now, the white people did not understand the solar system in heliocentric, which helio, they Greeks, they call the sun, you know, helio, basically. So they didn't have a solar centered model, you know, for a long time. And then they would argue over this stuff. So the thing is, our people knew beforehand. So we should be asking our questions. Okay, how come we hid our information? How come we hid our knowledge? How come nobody is making these type of things aware? How come this stuff here was not aware to the Greeks? See, because all of our knowledge right now was what's called legitimate knowledge of university, you know, the knowledge that is legitimate, because there's some stuff you guys laugh at. So if we were to show you a picture of a face on Mars, you've been taught to laugh at that. It's called Cydonia. If I was to show you an explanation to, you know, what they call the Temple of Abydos, which is, you know, ancient stuff on temple walls, which is carved in stone, okay, which is over, you know, thousands of years old, which is over like 4, 5, 6,000 years old. Okay, I would show you that. You guys would laugh at that. You've been trained to ignore something like this. This right here, you're not programmed to consider as something as legitimate. Okay. So what's happening is the truth is coming into the society now, but it has to come in a little bit at a time because y'all ain't ready for it. Even the white people, they can tell you. They can tell you, but because we had such a slave mentality, do you understand how messed up we were? You know, hundreds of years of this sort of treatment. We didn't have, you know, we love white folks. We love their dirty draws. We don't care what they did to us. After this sort of treatment, this enslavement treatment, it's total control of your mind. Total control of your mind. When people are trying to give you something and try to help you up and give you a platform to stand on so you can do something for yourself, you reject anyone who's trying to do something that says, okay, we want to do something that is going to benefit the black people only. He's going to refuse his own for the inducement of the white man's evil. So you want to sit there and defend white folks. This is the mentality that we have still. And we will see some of this, when anytime the black folks are moving towards a position of independence. Do you understand what independence means? A lot of us don't. A lot of us think that we are not worth anything unless we are connected to a white American, acceptance system. A lot of times we don't think that we're worth anything. We think there's no future in black progress. Okay? See, this is what you see. Independence is just like when black folks are shot down in the street. Why you don't see white people jumping up, causing, making protests and things like that when black people are shot down in the street just off the rip like that. You really don't. You don't see Asians doing protests when a black person is shot down in the street. You don't see it. When black people are shot down in the street, these other communities are independent of us. They don't have a connection. So they don't feel the same, connection when our people are killed or hurt or what have you. And so, why do we expect, you know, why do we have these connections to them? So, and then, like I said, I want to touch base with the Terrence Howard interview that, see, this is part of our independence too, our own science. We have a particular way of thinking and it works, okay, with black folks. We have a particular way of thinking of solving problems. It's different from white folks. White people have they want to ignore spiritual systems because they can't make a machine, a robot that can detect something. Then they want to say, okay, it doesn't exist. It's imagination. Well, imagination can be detected. Okay. An imaginary thing can be detected by the person. So what we want to do is we want to go into, so I celebrate black independent thinkers, especially if they're making progress. We can roll with some mistakes and they can be corrected by other black folks. I don't have no problem with that. But the standard of correction is not us saying, oh, this person's right or wrong because, oh, the white man said so. The person is right or wrong is either if it does not function in the universe as expected. The universe is the ultimate, authority of what's right and wrong. Let me see here. So let's go into some of this here. Let's see something. Let me go into this here 1 second, guys. We're going to go into this one. And actually, you know what? Let me turn this down. Let's get into some of this. So recently we had a situation called about, I guess Trump said something about black jobs. The black jobs comment. And I've been seeing on Facebook, there's a lot of people, they're running around talking about what's a black job, saying how, they're making fun that, the immigrants, undocumented, illegal immigrants, people who don't respect the law of the land that they're going into, They're making fun that these folks will target black people. They're making fun of the fact that some of these people tend to target black areas. And I'm telling people, hey, look, this is going to backfire on you because you idiot Democrats, black people fought for decades, for hundreds, literally century, okay, for jobs. We fought, okay, so that we would be able to get access. The Pullman porters, okay, we fought to get access to black jobs, meaning these jobs will be occupied and controlled and taken by black people. That's what a black job is. People tell me, oh, what's the definition of a black job? Listen, it's not hard. It's jobs that black people get, period. Okay. Then they want to argue about it. Listen, this is what it is. So now this person is talking about 4th of July, but let me see here. I want to go into some of this stuff. Some of these people are telling us that our black job is to vote, which is slavery. Okay, you don't tell us what our job. First of all, you say there's no black job, but then you say your job is to vote, and then they don't say who to vote for. Hold on a second. This is Facebook, and this is Real Talk with Rashad Ritchie. These people on this page, I mean, of course, they are some of the most loyal Democrats. They will sell black people down the river just so that they can defend the Democrat position. It's insane. So vote like your ancestors died for it. What an idiot. What about the jobs your ancestors died for? You don't want that. Trump endorsed candidate for governor. I don't care about that. And people, to me, I'm gonna say it straight up, guys. I don't get into the politics madness. It's stupid for black folks, especially. Our job is to really protect our interests. Excuse me. So look at this. Black employees make up. Let me make sure y'all can see it. Black employees make up an outsized share of the workforce at these companies, but only 6 have talent parity in their management ranks, and only 2 do in their executive ranks. So these are black jobs. So black people who help popularize. So I wrote this post. Black people who help popularize the idea that black jobs don't exist. Remember, this will backfire on you. And then this idiot is talking about a black job implies there are certain jobs available only to black people. You see, that's idiots reading into stuff. You know, this guy here, he's absolute idiot. Reggie Sr. is a complete Democratic shill. Okay, but whatever. Black job. Okay, look, ain't nobody gonna argue your belief. A black job is what these black people have. Black employees. These are jobs of black people. This is a black job. It's very simple. Okay. Make up an outside share of workforce at these companies. So what are these companies? Aflac, FedEx, okay, Carrier Global. Okay, hold on a second here. I'll try to make this a little bigger. So Aflac, FedEx, Carrier Global, Altria Group, Nike. Okay. So you got 26% of their workforce is black people. Altria Group, they got almost 27% of their workforce is black people. Carrier Global, 27% of their workforce is black people. FedEx, 32% of their workforce is black people. Aflac, 34% of their workforce is black people. Delta Airlines, 25.2% of their workforce is black people. Okay. And then in their first mid officials and managers, they got a lot of black people, 18%. FedEx, 21% black folks. Carrier Global, mostly, 8% of their foreman managers are black, which is very low compared to their workforce. All right, that's indicates some racism there. But Altria Group, they got 16% of their managers are black folks. Okay, so these companies are the ones that's hiring black people. These are black jobs. So what you're saying is that this doesn't exist. That's what you guys are saying. And then when these folks who come in who don't respect. Now I'm not talking about folks who were born here and they are absolute citizens. And if they came in, they were properly naturalized according to the respect of the law of the land, the people who came up with the laws. I'm talking about people who just comes over just to get some money. They still got all their stuff back. They have a whole entire country. They got an entire country they are coming from. They can go to fight to make it a better place for them to stay. Okay, but black folks, y'all don't have nowhere damn where else to go, and you're sitting up here, idiots. Okay, you're advocating for someone to undermine what your people have created and helped to make a way for you. They made a way for you to get this. And now it's easy for you. And then you're stupid enough to let somebody illegally come in and then have the same access to give a cheaper alternative to these Delta Airlines, Public Storage, Amazon, Nike, Altria Group. They're going to give a cheaper alternative. And of course, you're not going to have no ability to compete against that. These people are dumb. And this is what they call politics people. They're stupid. I mean, I don't understand how y'all get into this politics stuff. It's obviously a damn freaking fraud. Okay? And now my thing is, the ultimate solution is not even the Republicans, because guess what? They're sitting up here, let the Republicans get in. Okay, they can stop it, but they want to block you too, because they just want the white people to have everything. And then they're going to say, hey, well, at least we're not letting those illegals get to it, right? The ultimate solution, black folks, is for you to control your own situation. That's your ultimate solution, because it's really a what you call that, a pot to a frying pan situation. It's a catch-22 situation, really. No, neither one of these political groups have any good solution for us. Okay. So I don't, it's nothing here, but this is stupid. We got, like I said, let me see. So that's my post there. So I'm telling these people, these are the companies. So this man here, he files a lawsuit. Man files a lawsuit alleging racial discrimination when applying to Shinola hotel job in Detroit. Now, Detroit is still 80 to 90% black. And then these people want to discriminate against black people in Detroit. Do you understand that? It's insane. A black man is accusing Shinola Hotel downtown Detroit for racial discrimination when he submitted a resume for a job. The law prohibits discrimination based on race. But as a civil rights lawyer who is very, very busy, I can tell you this happens all the time, said attorney John Marco. Marco represents Dwight Jackson, who applied for a hospitality job earlier this year. He said Jackson was shocked when he did not get a call back, so he switched up his resume. See, because this man obviously knows what it takes to get these jobs. So let's listen to the thing here. I think they have something here for us to listen to.
Marco represents Dwight Jackson. Earlier this year, Jackson applied for a job at the Shinola Hotel. With a history of hospitality jobs, he was shocked to not get a call back. His lawyer says that's when he switched up his resume.
Didn't change anything substantive. He only changed his name to a white-sounding name of John Jabrowski. And suddenly, He got multiple interviews in a matter of days.
Here's a look at those resumes, both very similar, only minor changes were made, like dates. Now, with serious accusations looming, we got this statement from the hotel. It reads, quote, "We take this allegation very seriously and do not tolerate discrimination of any kind. We're committed to fostering an inclusive workplace where everyone has the opportunity to succeed and are dedicated to building a diverse workforce that reflects the community."
Mr. Jackson actually confronted them and said, "I'm Dwight Jackson. I'm the guy that's been applying for a job." And they said, "You're done. We don't want to hire you."
Ann Arbor City Council recently passed a resolution implementing an anonymous hiring initiative for city jobs, meaning potentially biased information would be removed from applications. Talking with Councilwoman Harrison, who spurred the move, she says it's cases like Jackson's while they're setting a standard.
It causes generational harm, thus the wealth gap, right? It contributes to the wealth gap, and it has for generations contributed to the wealth gap between white and black.
While cities and states adopt fair chance laws, which requires the removal of criminal conviction questions on applications, it still can cause discrimination based on names or zip codes. Both Harrison and Markle believe in order to curtail the problem, we need laws at the state and federal level.
As an employer, what folks should be focused on are skills and qualifications at the basis for employment decisions.
Now, Attorney Marco tells me since being vocal about the alleged discrimination Mr. Jackson has faced, his phone's been ringing, as others are also accusing the Shinola of discrimination as well. In downtown Detroit, Terrell Bailey, CBS News. Detroit.
So there you go. There you have it. You still got this discrimination situation.
What were you experiencing as you were going through the debate? Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look.
Hold on. We can get into that a little later. But see, this is what I'm saying, guys. This is the point. All of this stupid stuff that people are out here talking about, like it's funny that that there are people, Indians, East Indians, the way they do it a lot of the times, they'll come from their country and they will do this together. They will buy hotels, they will buy strip malls, and they will make sure that their people are employed. Their job, this is their stuff they control. Nobody messes with them. Nobody sues them for discrimination, even though they do discriminate. They won't hire you. You can't go in there and start forcing your way up into their community like that. Hold on a second. All right, yeah. So my point is, guys, black people, you have to understand, you are an independent group of people. You have to protect your interests. You can't just sit there and just so you can win a political temporary campaign, start undermining what your bread and butter is. Can you imagine? Well, we can look at some of this stuff. There's black people that don't care about other black people just because they don't work on this level. Okay? So, look, let me see something here. For example, let's look at this here. This is the issue. Q, this is a black job. This should be a black job. The big three should be black jobs, okay? So, let me make sure. And this is what you do. You keep people in check. WNBA player Lexi Brown has a few words for Ice Cube after he offered college basketball star Kaylin Clark $5 million to play in his Big Three league as a side job when she go to the NBA. And then you got a dumb freaking Negro. Why do black women think they are entitled to shit they haven't earned? This is about capitalism, no. This is about black jobs. And I'm going to say that here. because they are entitled to first dibs. That's how capitalism works. This is a black-owned league. Let me get that in. And you got to keep these people, you know, Cube is being pulled to try to get, you know, to sell out. And, you know, you got to realize that on that level, it's very important. It's very important for the white people to try to change and to try to get the black owner to sell out. Ice Cube is completely black. I mean, his whole career is built on servicing the black community. He thrives on support. He is protected by the support of the black community. Okay. Other communities that respect what he does, because black folks, we attract other people. So Ice Cube is able to appeal to other parts of society. But when he is attacked, the black people are there to defend him and to support him, no matter what somebody tries to take him out. So the black woman is definitely should be first dibs. Ice Cube, he tried to go through it with his contract for Black America. Dude, nah, you give that offer to your black woman first. You don't do that. So, you know, but people who think it's all about capitalism, if it's all about capitalism, you're not going to be in control of what you own. See, it's all about capitalism for your community, though. You don't sell out just for money, your people, because then you're not going to have anything. You're not going to be in control of anything, and you're not going to have a legacy. That's what people don't understand. That's what a lot of black folks don't understand. You can't have a legacy. You're not going to ever have 100-year anniversary of your, you know, of like BET. Look at this disgusting situation of BET now. It's owned by white people. They're trashing it. You have nothing. You know. So let me look at this here. I want to see this. There's one. Hold on a second. All right. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get my. Oh, here it is. I think I can get it here. Okay, so this is what I want everybody to look at. Now listen to this. This is this woman. And there's millions of sisters like this. Okay? We need these people to have jobs. Okay? If this woman don't have a black job, okay, do you understand? Her children are more likely to go out and not have a way. Okay? This is how you're going to create a more dangerous community that we're going to live in. Okay? When we don't make sure that people on this level have access to earning. Okay? So, and some independence. So let's listen to what she's saying.
I am one of the Black Americans whose job is being taken by the border problem that we are experiencing. And I'm being nice to call it a border problem, and we all know that. But I've been hearing all the comments out here lately, you know, that Black people are pissed off that he made that comment. By the way, I've heard that I can't say certain names on this app, and I want my channel to stay active. So that's why I'm kind of talking in code here. But we all know who made the statement that Black jobs are being taken. And yes, they are. I don't care what anybody else tries to tell you. Yes, they are. I have a high school diploma. I don't have a lot of job skills. And trust me, the things that I can do are being directly impacted by all of these people coming in. I clean houses. I drive for Uber and Lyft. I have a 9-to-5. I can't talk about it, but I had to go get the 9-to-5 because Uber and Lyft and cleaning houses and doing deliveries didn't cut it anymore because of all of the influx of all the other low-skilled workers that have been allowed to permeate our whole country. Anyway, yes is the answer. Yes, Black jobs are being taken when you allow a bunch of unskilled or low-skilled workers to come in, because there are quite a few of us that are also low-skilled workers. I'm not the only one. Nobody's gonna make me feel bad for that. I'm not the only low-skilled, high school diploma Black person running around here. It's a whole lot of y'all just like me. And you need to realize that if we keep letting all this crap come across the border, that is going to be able to compete with you. Not to mention, quite a few of those people will work for significantly less than what you will work for.
So she decided to, before, I guess she was still being politically correct, and she decided to cut it off. So listen. No.
I am one of the Black Americans
No. There's no freaking, this is what I don't understand some of these freaking Facebook idiots. These people make me so mad, man. Some of these people. You got Black people fighting for employment, and then they ask these dumb freaking questions. Who need list of, okay, no, let me talk about that. This is a troll. So they don't think about nobody else. Oh, immigrants are going to take our Black jobs. See, he's making fun of that woman. Prayer and worship. Who will go to his church? F him. I mean, these people are so irritating. They really are. They're stupid. Tavis Smile. Like a few years ago, you had the people in LA City Council. They were Nuri Martinez. So I shows this. Black people fighting, teaching activities free. The people's history of the March on Washington. Jobs and freedom. These are Black people marching, okay, to try to get rights. And one of those rights was jobs. So there are Black jobs. Okay. So I just wanted to put a pin in that. I'm gonna, we'll do something later on that, but I'm gonna share that sister's post on my YouTube, because that needs to get out. There are Black jobs. Okay. Everybody doesn't work the same level of skilled job. And we need all levels. I need somebody to work at Aflac, FedEx, Carrier Global. Okay. I need someone to work at Public Storage, Uber, Lyft. And I want my Black people to work those jobs who are at those levels. I want them to work those jobs. Every damn body is not going to be a freaking doctor, engineer, home builder, okay? Or, electrician, which I am. Or everybody's not going to do the same thing. But I want my family, my people, to be able to access those positions in society to make to make everything work. Okay? So anyway, let's get on to another subject. I want to touch on this one too. So I went on to that one. We're going to do this one a little bit quicker. I want to get into, I want to teach a little bit, guys. Like I said, the solution that we really got is going to be our independence. Now, the 4th of July, the 4th of July is actually when Master Farad Muhammad started teaching, okay, in Detroit, 1930. He started going door to door to Black folks, selling silk, speaking on the ancient wisdom that our people had lost because of our situation under enslavement here. So let's listen to Honorable Elijah Muhammad speak on some of that.
That I had studied much of that, and so all of his talk and teachings correspond with what I had learned of the scripture. In Mecca, Arabia, and that he had come in and out of this country for about 20 years before ever that he made himself known to us. He had studied, he says, out here, or rather he had enrolled in the California University there, and he lived with a white family out there, he says, while he was going to the University of California. How long he went to this university, I don't know. But he says to me that he did go to this university and enroll there. And other universities he mentioned to me. And finally he told me this, that he had studied every educational systems of the civilized world. And that he could speak and, well, speak 16 languages and write 10 of them. He could speak 16 fluently. Well, I was not too much learned into scripture at that time, and I had not studied too much, but I had from a child up wanted to learn the scripture, because my father was a preacher, and I always, from a child up, wanted to help him or take his place one day as a preacher. And so I was always studying the Bible. And I had read much about the coming of the judgment and the coming of God and Jesus returning to resurrected dead and all like that. I had studied much of that. And so all of his talk and teachings correspond with what I had learned of the scripture. And therefore I become one of his I should say 100% convert. And on his leave of us, he began to tell me what I may expect, what will come to pass, and what I should do to try and make my people qualified, rather to reform them and make them accepted by the Islamic people, and teach them that they must change completely in the way of righteousness, and that they would have to forego the name that they was in, and that he would give them all a name himself. And much he said to me. He used to teach me night and day. We used to sit sometime from early part of the night until sunrise and after sunrise, all night long for about 2 years or more. He was with us 3 years, a little better, and I was constantly around him. and he was constantly teaching me of things of Islam and what is to come and what was before. And this is the way that we begin. And he patted his hand on my shoulder, give me kind of a little show, a way around it. And there was some more there present. And he started talking to him. And about a month later, he told my wife to tell me to go ahead and start teaching out there in the little part of, I would say, it's not a little part now, it's a very large part, in Hamtramck, Michigan. That's in Detroit. Hamtramck is in Detroit. And I was living in Hamtramck at that time. So he says to my wife, you tell him that he can go ahead because I had wrote him. And he received my letter. And I was telling him what I could not tell him there in the public. And then he says to me, you go ahead and start teaching, and I will back you up. And I started teaching that he was the answer to the prophecy of the coming of Jesus 2,000 years after Jesus' birth, and that this is the man at that time. And so I did begin teaching that with the Son of Man, the second coming of Jesus is present. This is him now, here among us. But he didn't allow me to go too far with that kind of teachings while he was present. He told me, he said, you can do that after I'm gone. He said, don't talk too much about me. He says, no. He says, give them a little milk. That's the way he talked all the time. And he never would say anything hardly just direct. He would give it to you in a way that you would have to learn just exactly what he meant by what he said. And so he says, you cannot give babies meat. And I understood what he was referring to. And so he said, give the little baby milk. He said, when I'm gone, he said, then you.
All right, so I'm gonna stop it right there for a second. Now the thing is, guys, then like I said, make sure y'all press the like button, share it, and all this stuff. We started off talking about a little bit about this black jobs comment fiasco these people are talking about. Right now, I just want to talk about the 4th of July with the Nation of Islam, and this is some teachings that whether you agree with it all or not, you should know about, because number one, this is brought here to America is brought to black people. You see that there's a significant number of us black folks who have used this teaching, and we have brought a lot of success to ourselves. Even if you, like I said before, even if you don't understand the whole thing, this is something that is a part of our American heritage that you should know about. So he was telling you the history of when he met Master Farad Muhammad and how he got the knowledge and the teachings that he has taught to Malcolm X and taught to all these Muslims. He taught to Minister Farrakhan. He taught all of these people. Okay, this is something that has eluded a lot of black folks, how to build something and maintain it and protect it under the, the intense, efforts of American society to destroy everything that black folks make. Okay, we still got it going on. So this is what he's teaching us. This is something that we should know about. So I'm gonna go into this little chapter. It's called "Our Savior Has Arrived," but it's chapter 8. He was saying how black folks, we think we know something, but we've never been taught a true knowledge of God. And this is chapter 8. So I'm gonna read this real quick. This is in Elijah Muhammad's book. He says, you who have been here in America for 400 years have never been taught a true knowledge of self. You know, who the hell you are. Okay, now I've said that part. You have never been taught a true knowledge of self, God, and his religion. Okay, Islam. Now, this means the stuff that y'all hearing about is not what it actually is. Okay, and he's trying to teach you how it is, but you want to listen to people who hate you instead of somebody who's actually trying to help you. So why that don't even make sense. Some of y'all get mad at your children who go outside and y'all the kid, you took care of the child, raised the child, you know, you love the child, proving that you love, fed the child every single day. And then when the child becomes a teenager, they don't want to listen to you. They want to listen to somebody who they don't even know over you. So yeah, so black folks, we want to listen to people who hate us about something. We want to listen to somebody who hate us versus people who actually is trying to actually help us, put us on top. So he's telling you, as long as you are without such essential knowledge, which is the key to salvation, freedom, justice, and equality, you are not free. It is true that the truth shall make the lost and found members of the tribe of Shabazz, the so-called Negroes, free, John 8:32. But they shall never known, but they have never known what truth it was that shall make them free. That truth comes to us at the end of the Caucasian world. The end has come, and Allah has come to make manifest this hidden truth to us, the black nation of the earth, and first to the lost members of the nation, according to the Bible and Quran Sharif. It is the divine purpose of Allah to make known this hidden truth that shall make the black nation free. A thorough knowledge of our own history and the history of the white race has been kept from the ears of the black people of America, who were enslaved by their enemies and the enemies of all dark people the world over. The so-called Negroes' problems of getting the truth is very hard, but the hardest problem to solve is getting them to believe it after getting it in their ears. Okay? This is due to their being brought up solely under the teachings of their enemies. Black people are schooled 100% in the fear of their enemies and the enemies' own fixed religion called Christianity, with the name of a prophet Jesus on it, in order to make them believe that it came from Jesus. But their enemies' own translation of the Bible omitted the mentioning of any of the prophets' religions by name. On the other hand, the Holy Quran teaches us that the prophet's religion was none other than Islam, the religion of peace. Shall we accept the scholars of the white race to teach us the knowledge of our God and history, which has no birth record, while they themselves were made by one of our own gods only 6,000 years ago? Let us give praise to the coming of our God, Allah, who came in the person of Master Muhammad and who our enemies persecuted and ordered out of the country. His power they cannot persecute and drive out. Neither persecution, evil spoken, nor death will stop this truth that shall make you free, which I have received from the very mouth of Allah. For it is time that the dead so-called Negroes should know the truth and accept their own place among their own kind in the holy nation of Islam. This is the time there will never be any peace among the nations of the earth until the so-called Negroes have heard the truth, and those who accept it are separated and placed in the paradise of their God Allah. The so-called American Negroes with their God Allah shall become the universal rulers, believe it or not. They can do it now if they will quit this slavery religion called Christianity. No black people who accept Christianity will ever be free. You automatically become a servant of the white. You automatically become a servant of the white race and not of God upon accepting their religion. The so-called Negroes with their leaders should come out of it into their own religion, but they cannot until they first have a thorough knowledge of self and others. So, of course, a lot of people will disagree with that, but that's what the man taught. And, he worked his life to prove his teaching. So I wanted to get into that. That is a solution for our people. We have to stop accepting the leadership of people that are enemies of us. We want to put these enemies in leadership in front of us, but we don't want to work ourselves to qualify ourselves to be our own leadership and independent. That's what these guys are teaching us. That's what the teaching is about. All right. So anyway, I did want to touch on this Terrence Howard thing. I am almost at the hour, but I'm going to touch on the Terrence Howard and Joe Rogan thing just a little bit. And I just want to go into black science. Okay. Black folks, you got to stop accepting the leadership of white folks. Okay. Now, we have an ancient system that have solved problems for us way longer than what the white folks have. Okay. Keep in mind, if you go into the history of white history, this is Western world history, white Western world history. Okay. This is what calls 2024, 500, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. How long is 500? 1492 years ago from 2024. Okay, so let's get the exact measurement. Let's subtract it. We want to see how long have they been world travelers. Okay. Messed up here. Hold on a second. So 2024 minus 1492. 532 years ago, okay? These people, okay, they just got over here. When they came over, they came over to the Americas, the Western Hemisphere, okay? The Portuguese were going down into Africa. They were traveling the coast of Africa. So this is 550, 560 years ago. They got over there to Australia. Now, keep in mind, everywhere they went, people were already there. What does that tell you? Black folks, we were already there. Okay. Why the hell will we place preference? See, what we're doing is we're placing preference over of white folks' account of history over our own account of our own ancient records and our own people's account of history. Is because we feel like, oh, well, they were smarter than us because they defeated us in battle. And obviously we weren't that smart. So let's listen to the white man. But the reason why they were defeating you is because they lied to you. Because you accepted them over your own. So in order for you to be smarter, you have to stop accepting their leadership like that. Okay? So we go into Terrence Howard a little bit. Now, Terrence Howard is self-taught. He put out now this here he explained this flower of life situation. We went through this before. He's seen something in here that other people never seen. It's over 6,000 years old, just like this. Now keep in mind that flower of life is over 6,000 years old, just like these heliocentric solar system model. The Black folks knew where all the planets were. Do you understand that? Do we understand this? This was 6,000 years ago. People who are seeing this, a lot of us don't get it. This is on the temple walls of Abydos in Egypt. Do we understand this? The stuff that we've been living in is not new. The technology that we have been living under is not the supreme technology of all history. Okay? humans have regressed. We're living in a lower level of technology. We live under a lower level of technology than our ancient ancestors did. Okay, so that's hard for us to understand because of what we've been taught. But that's what's being taught. That's what's being taught. So Terrence Howard went on Joe Rogan's show again with this white Jewish scientist, Eric Weinstein. Weinstein came up pretending like he was cool and he was trying to be all nice. And, this is what they do with deception. So I'm going to play some of the, and this is just for fair use situations. I'm just going to play the audio here. And it's just a couple of key parts that I wanted to touch on and we're going to leave out. Okay. So let's go to it.
Conversation I want to listen to.
I would like to corner him because I believe that Grizzly Man was a secret comedy. I really do. There's something about the way he edited Grizzly Man. I'm like, this motherfucker is being funny on purpose. I know he is. I know he's like editing these like short clips. So the guy's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
That you start laughing, shouldn't be reading the comments.
It's not the online stuff. It's the academic stuff. The academic stuff is really it's vicious stuff.
So first off, this is what Eric does. This is technology. So first off, he comes in. He puts himself as an advocate, as he's trying to help. He's out here trying to, be on Terrence's side, okay? And really, he's trying to take his stuff. He's jealous of Terrence. But let's listen to how he plays it. This is the beginning of the interview, okay? We're just like about 4 minutes in.
Yes. And it's always with like a pretend smile on the face, so it's the worst. Mm-hmm. And what I thought I would do is I can't critique a man if I haven't built a model of what he's actually saying in my own mind that he agrees with. Like, in other words, if I start coming after Terrence and saying, I think this stuff here is bullshit, and he's like, I didn't say that, that's what you inferred from what I wrote, then I've just basically insulted a person incorrectly. And if I praise something, I don't know whether I built that in my mind or he built it. So the first thing I thought we would do is I would try to recapitulate what I understand of Terrence's sort of grand arc and see whether or not I can steelman it. And then Terrence can say yes, and then I can evaluate it. Until we do that, I don't know whether I'm actually reacting to the real man.
I think that's really important. And what you said.
So he's trying to control it. This is what he wants to do. He wants to control the conversation. Terrence Howard is just sitting there listening to these people. Okay, now when Terrence gets the chance to talk a little bit, this dude stops him all the time, the whole 4 hours. Okay, so Joe said that's cool. Let's see what Terrence is saying.
Systems that you're claiming you have, and all you need is someone to review.
Have to jump in. I don't want to do it this
That'd
way.
be great.
Listen, we're just having a conversation.
Hold on.
Wigged out, and he was saying this thing.
Literally.
He literally wigged out, and he's saying this thing. He said, "Look, all I care about is the truth," and that freed me up to come on, right? Because the spectrum of Terrence, from the best to the worst, is a broad spectrum, and he seriously wants to improve what he's doing. He cares about it, and if I can play a part in that. I think
I love you. I want to offer to you. I want to be able to show you the things that I tried to show Neil deGrasse Tyson that he would not even really take a look at in this feed.
But no, he did take a look at it, right? He responded in a long video recently.
Yeah, but his response was disingenuous.
Guys, let me make a recommendation. Let's start with the ideas, because I think we all care about those.
Yes, for sure. But hold, please, because this is an important thing.
He was so disingenuous because I sent him a long email after he sent me back the red line thing, thanking him for reviewing it and saying, look forward to when we can discuss these things, because I sent the treaties to him so we could discuss that on the show. His whole point was, I'm going to bring you on my show and we're going to talk. So right. Here's the stuff that we're going to talk about that I would like to talk about. He never followed up from that point forward, just sent one-line emails. Any other thing you got to go to somebody else. So he's pretended like, oh, I was trying to be, very helpful, but that's not what the email trails show.
So he did make this one very large response, though, right? He did go over the treatise, like all the red line stuff. He only has so much time. He might be in a position to defend him, but he might be in a position where he's like, look, I just said what I said about all this stuff. Good luck. I don't have the time to like sit here and discuss.
So they're talking about Terrence Neil deGrasse Tyson. He responded. I did react to that on Terrence Howard in some of his ideas. And so, that's that. Okay, so let's go on to another section. I want to get into what this guy's Eric's talking about. I want to get into some of this deception. Well, I don't want to spend too much time. I'm going to try to finish this off in like 10 minutes or less.
Despite the fact that the square root of 2 has all of its issues.
Hold on.
Who are seeing this at a different level.
But just for the record, like I said, I grew up watching Neil and having someone that was light-skinned, that looked like me, up there making these grand steps towards helping people to understand. I admire him, and I still would like the opportunity to sit down and show him these things and have that beer, because I think that he will be pleased once he sees the supersymmetry associated with it and understand where all of the passion came from. And I hope that other scientists will take a look at it, but that's the whole point of us doing that.
I don't know how serious he is about that beer.
No.
Right, because I saw him say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, that was a very complicated thing that he did. And it had many layers as to whether or not you took it on the surface, you took the hidden meaning, and you took the meaning below that. And so plunging right into that from the beginning, in my opinion, is not served very well by having the three of us here. Because the first thing is, what is the nature of Terrence's ideas? I don't think Neil actually understood some of your ideas, to be entirely honest.
No, and what he forgot is when I say 1 × 1 = 2, that's a metaphor for challenging the status quo. Despite the fact that the square root of 2 has all of its issues when you cube it or you multiply it by 2, which creates a contradiction, despite the fact that the square root of 2 has a problem with the prime numbers, the fact that they call number 2 a prime number, when it's clearly a composite number. Any other prime number, and I'll jump into this, any prime number that you subtract from another prime number, you always get a composite number, except with the situation of the number 2. And there's so many people and that's why the prime numbers are unpredictable, because of that problem associated. So there's been a problem with 2 for so long.
2 is different. I mean, you will find that mathematicians will often talk about proving something for characteristic not equal to 2. So they'll single out 2 as being just very, very different. So look that up when we're done.
Yeah, but why? But why would they do
because in part of what you're saying, the prime 2, it does belong as a prime, but it is also special. And in other words, I have the opportunity to strawman you if I want to, because what you just said sounded crazy.
See, this is what the devil does. So now they know that the average person is not aware of this level of mathematics. They haven't studied it. A lot of us don't even think of this. Okay, but we do know there's something wrong here. We do notice that y is 1 × 1 × 1 × 1 × 1 × 1 × 1. It's just all ones. That doesn't even make sense to me. But we ignore it because the math people say that's what it is. Then if you do more higher mathematics, then you'll start, okay, so why the square root of 2, you'll do that, and then what he does is cubing means, okay, 2 times, okay, so look, if you cube something, this means it's 2 to the 3rd. 2 times 2 times 2. So that would be 8. So if I take the square root of 2, and I put this in half, and I think, let's see what it is. Where is it? Anyway, but I'm not going to go out into the details of it because, see, some of this stuff, people, we got to study, because what happens is, I think when we start getting into the math, some of us get bored by it and we get shut down by it. We shut it down. And that's what kind of happens here. Terrence is going to go into a legitimate thing that people who do math, they know what he's talking about, but he will lose the average person in this. And I'll go and I'll listen to this, but if you want to understand and follow this part, you would have to look at the interview, and then you would have to get your calculator and you would have to follow it. You would have to take, let me see here if I can show this to you guys. Let me do this. No, I think you guys can see the calculator. Let me do it this way. So what he wants to do, so if we take 2, and we do, hold on a second, let me clear that out. So if we take 2, and then we do square root of 2, the square root of 2 is also the same thing. It's 2 to the 0.5 power. It's the same thing. And that gives us the square root of 2. And so this times itself should give us 2. But if I take this times, if I take this and cube it, this is what they get. Anyway, let's let Terrence, like I said, we have to really go through this to really understand what these issues he's talking about. So it's cube, and then if I take this cube, and then I do half of that, so times 0.5, half of this, that gives me the square root instead of the cube. But if we know what square root means, which means, the number times itself, which is the number, it's not double, but it's multiplied by itself. But then you cube it, but you multiply it by itself twice, but then you just cut it in half. It's a loop. This is what Terrence is saying, that's unnatural. So you see how I did that? And like I said, guys, you would have to really go through that so you can actually see what he's talking about. And he's saying that this is not reflecting actual reality of physical particles. So it should not be used in physics. That's what he's saying. He's saying that this stuff, when you use these numbers, the real material doesn't do that. If I take the command to multiply, this is what Terrence is saying. The command to multiply something, it means to make it bigger by a such and such amount. I want to increase this by such and such amount. With these multiple method. So if you increase something, it's always going to get bigger. But with this multiplication that we have, like if I multiply 0.95, which is almost 1, times 0.95, it's gonna be a smaller number. It's 0.90. But I supposedly made it bigger, but it doesn't work like that. Okay, so it doesn't really work like that. That's what Terrence is saying is a problem. We're Terrence is saying he's figured out that there's a fundamental flaw. There's a fundamental disconnect between the kind of math, the math that people are doing on one level is not reflective of the actual physical world. And he's saying that should change. So this is why he's saying it's a metaphor for a flaw that needs to be corrected in the math. So let's get back to some of this. Let them talk. Now, people who don't understand this or don't even try to understand this, they just laugh because they think it's all about some type of rap battle type of situation. But these kind of conversations are about function.
And I also have the possibility to steal menus. And so plunging right into that from the beginning, in my opinion, is not served very well by having the three of us here. Because the first thing is, what is the nature of Terrence's ideas? I don't think Neil actually understood some of your ideas, to be entirely honest.
No, and what he forgot is when I say 1 × 1 = 2, that's a metaphor for challenging the status quo. Despite the fact that the square root of 2 has all of its issues when you cube it or you multiply it by 2, which creates a contradiction. Despite the fact that the square root of 2 has a problem with the prime numbers, the fact that they call number 2 a prime number, when it's clearly a composite number. Any other prime number, and I'll jump into this, any prime number that you subtract from another prime number, you always get a composite number, except with the situation of the number 2. And there's so many people and that's why the prime numbers are unpredictable, because of that problem associated. So there's been a problem with 2 for so long.
2 is different. I mean, you will find that mathematicians will often talk about.
So now he can say, now what he's saying, he's basically saying, I could make you sound crazy based on what you just said. But if we're worried about sounding crazy to people who don't know what the freaking heck is going on, then we're never going to get at the truth. We can't worry about sounding crazy to these people because these people are crazy.
Proving something for characteristic not equal to 2. So they'll single out 2 as being just very, very different. So look that up when we're done.
Yeah, but why? But why would they do
because in part of what you're saying, the prime 2, it does belong as a prime, but it is also special. And in other words, I have the opportunity to strawman you if I want to, because what you just said sounded crazy. And I also have the possibility to steal man you. So all the algebraic topologists who just heard, for characteristics not equals to 2, they're like saying, yeah, that's fair. And so in part, by just jumping into the middle of this, we don't have the benefit of putting your best foot forward, because if you say 1 × 1 = 2, everybody knows that that's crazy. But what you actually may mean, and what the fact that you don't use certain terms, or the fact that you use certain pronunciations that communicate to me something very positive, which is that you taught yourself. You learned this stuff from reading about it, because nobody taught you, or you wouldn't pronounce certain words the way you pronounce them.
True.
Yeah. True. So in part, you always have the ability to make fun of somebody who pronounces a word the way it's read on the page, and then you also have the opportunity to say, "Holy cow, that guy actually taught himself." That's more impressive. And
right.
So in part, what I want to do is I want to start by giving you your best foot forward and see if I even understood what you said when you went into this whole flower of life riff that becomes your larger theory. And the only way I know how to do this is to see whether or not I actually grasp it. Because I also had to spend some time. I didn't spend a ton of time, but my time is valuable, your time is valuable. Mm-hmm. So let's do this thing.
Yeah, so I will follow your lead.
All right. What's going on with the number?
So obviously this guy signals to Terrence that he wants to control the conversation. And Terrence is not there to create a fight, I guess. So he's just like, okay, we're gonna let you do it. Go ahead and Go, you do it your way. See, which I didn't really like that, but it's fine. It's on Joe Rogan show, whatever.
For two.
The
CIA,
CIA is in charge of it.
What's up with two?
Two's different. Because of what he said,
Right.
the fact that the even odd distinction.
Isn't that odd though? That
But
two is different?
The
What a
problem,
strange thing.
the problem that's associated with the number two is because of the identity principle, which I call the Jim Crow laws of mathematics.
So let's look at this identity principle. You see, like I said, guys, it will be real. I can't go through the whole thing that fast, but I'll go through some more of it. But the identity principle, he calls it the Jim Crow laws of mathematics. Let him explain it, and then we'll move into one of the last parts of it, which I just wanted to hit on before the ending of it. There's a lot in this interview. It's too much for us to go into real quick, but I want to end this off. So let's go into this.
I'm sweating. I know you don't
It's
want to
okay.
go yet.
No, let's get into it.
Just as a base.
You're going right into his neighborhood.
Just as a
You're in the
base,
mathematical hood right now.
Trying to keep a
Because
black
you
man
have-
down.
No, you have Marie von Franz, who argued about the problems associated with the identity principle. You got Kurt Godel, who talked about it. You got Wells. All of them said it made everything incommensurable, just because they gave that identity principle to the number one. And that has been the stumbling block for mathematicians, because it's what's held everybody behind, because they keep trying to make that work. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're wrong if we do it that way. In other words,
Hold on. You're wrong if we do it that way. So when he wants to do it in a way that where Terrence is wrong, but there's also a way where Terrence is right. And see, like I said, guys, I don't, but I want it, because he said the identity principle, I don't want to go without showing what they say the identity principle is. Hold on a second. And now the good thing about this, like I said too, keeping up on this actually motivates people to actually study this stuff. Because one of the things I notice about Black people, we do love to argue. We do love to debate. And it can actually help us to learn when we put things in a little bit of a competition, as long as we don't.
Vortexes, which are just like.
Hold on a second. Let me show you guys. Just want to show this identity principle. Why shouldn't we know this? Why should we know about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and we don't know about mathematics? Do you know what mathematics can do for you and help? You know how mathematics can help you solve your day-to-day problems, business, okay? In business, in all sorts of stuff. So what is the principle of identity? Share button in logic. The principle that where X or a variable, X is anything, where X is known to be identical to Y, some other thing. Any statement about X or Y will have the same meaning and truth value as the same statement about Y or X. So that's what he's saying, identity. He calls it the Jim Crow. This is in logic. Okay. What is identity? In identity law. So in math, let's do identity principle in math. If two holomorphic functions, you see how they do, they love to switch up stuff. If two holomorphic functions on a domain agree on a set that contain an accumulation point in D, then F equals G. So it's a function. That's very confusing itself. And then if you don't know it, then they call you stupid and make you feel bad, right? But you got to be willing to be wrong, to go through that in order to learn stuff, because you're dealing with a world full of idiots, okay? And this is just the world that we live in. So anyway, guys, I'm going to end it off now because it's time for me to go to bed and start a new day. I just wanted to come through, touch base on some of these issues. Make sure you guys let me know what you were thinking about. If you have any thoughts or comments on any of this stuff that we were talking about. But I just want us to understand that we got to just keep pushing. But really, our solutions to most of everything is us solve. We have the power to solve the problems in our lives, in our own being. We just got to get that wisdom and put it into ourselves. Learn things. Okay, let's keep learning, keep moving, keep pushing. All right, peace out.